And now, time to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Prodigy, here on the Man of Steel podcast.
Hey, you blink, I'll cut your eyelids off. Don't you blink. I got you. Let's go.
You get where you feel like you can rush the quarterback. You understand? Yeah. Rush the quarterback. Bangs in for the touchdown, and there's the coup de grace.
Do you have room in the trophy for another one there? You got 6 of them. Now you're the winningest franchise in NFL history.
We'll make room.
Alrighty. Well, guys, let's get into another topic right now. Let's get ready to transition right now. MLB Upper Deck right now. Major League Baseball has finally agreed to season resumption right now, or the start their season, I should say. This Sunday, they're going to be asking teams to get 60-man roster submitted right now throughout the league right now. You're going to have 60-plus games this year. Plus, the thing that's been finally come to fruition that we've been wondering for a long time should be happening for 2020. I'm not sure going forward, but I know this year, universal DH for both the American League and the National League. And one thing I like a lot this year, the extra innings thing, because I noticed this when I was covering once upon a time for a team in the minor league in Seagull A right there, where extra innings, they start off with a guy on second base right there. So they put a guy automatically on second base right there. I got to ask you guys right now, with the COVID and everything that's been affected, and I always felt baseball at this point, they should probably just call their season a wash. So because they have a lot of things hurting themselves. But, I tell you what.
No problem with the talking, speak your truth.
I got one team, believe it or not, who I believe is going to benefit from this. You know who that is?
Who's that?
I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. For the Houston Astros be staying out of the news, because remember.
They totally benefited from it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, if you think about if the season would have started when it started, they would have been getting booed. They would have been the storyline.
Oh yeah.
The MLB. Even if the MLB.
Do we know?
Back,
if that owner has a wet market in Wuhan or anything like that?
Right.
I know how to get us out of this.
I thought about this like 2 months ago.
Pandemic.
Man, Houston really got over with COVID because it took that whole thing. We were prepared. Think about it. We keep forgetting we were in spring training.
Yeah.
This didn't happen
We're talking Chris Bryant leading off. That's a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
We were coming to baseball taking place, and everyone basically like, man, we're going to torture as far in a civil manner. The Houston Astros, for the most part, civil. But, yeah, when the Houston Astros come around, and this blew. And, I mean, listen, you say that. It takes care of the GM. It takes care of the manager. It takes care of Boston's man.
Alex Cora.
Yeah, they only got 60 games they got to miss now. Their suspension.
It's for the year. Do we know that? It's just going to happen.
That's a year.
It's a year for the season.
Right. So it just didn't take care of that. But I'm with you, Chuck. It's benefited Houston so much.
AJ Hinch is popping bottles. He's like, all right.
Because of two
Ludlow's like, who am I going to be a general manager from next?
I just will say this, though, because the two pissed-off fan bases that's been happening, that's demanding that the Astros forfeit their World Series title or strip it. Because remember, you got teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers right there. Dodgers who actually came up 2 years in a row, losing to the Astros in 7 games right there. And then recently to the Red Sox. Red Sox, it's just, here's the thing, a problem I have with the Astros having to forfeit their titles. Here's the thing. You know why they're getting that? They're not a bigger name like the Red Sox, in my opinion. I think they're a case where they're not as big as brand as the Red Sox. They're going to get picked out a little bit the hardest right there. I think Red Sox are going to have a little bit more benefit. You got 9 World Series titles versus the Astros 1. But I just feel like just staying out of the news right there, because I remember YouTubing some stuff like with the Yes Network, with the Yankees broadcast and fans, or where it's like with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, the odd couple right there. These people were livid. I mean, going into that winter league right there, it was night and day. It just You know, how can you allow these guys to, like, you know, get away with this? You know, fire your manager of the team who's moved on. I think it's AJ Hinch.
Mm-hmm.
Then you still somehow keep your GM, coincidentally. I just feel like
they got rid of the GM.
No,
they got rid
he
of the
got
GM
fired
too.
too.
The GM Ludlow got fired too, Chuck.
Yeah, they got fired together.
Wait, how about this? Wasn't Boston up for an investigation too at the same time?
That's what I'm saying.
They basically came out that from what we've seen, because that's when the manager came out and was like, "See, I told you," and that's when he came out and was like, because Cora came out, Joy Cora's little brother was like,
Alex.
He was like, one, they got rid of the guy that was in that room, and of course that's a scapegoat. But the thing within Houston, they tried to make it seem like it was him and Carlos Beltran, and he was like, it was not a 2-man team.
Right.
That's not what took place. So
and they ruled that it was less.
Yeah, they didn't rule. So in Boston, they didn't come down harder because people was like, man, if Cora was running this in Houston and then took it to Boston, he got to get like 2 years or a lifelong ban.
Yeah.
And basically, that's not what he ended up getting, and he considered that validating him as far as going back to Houston when they was trying to scapegoat him and Carlos Beltran as being the ringleaders of the whole situation.
Well, to Chuck, to your initial question, talking about, you know, saying this the start of the MLB season as a whole, we still got to try to figure out, well, I guess it's going to come out, we're going to find out soon exactly where they're going to be playing at, right? Everybody's been running to Florida, but Florida's on fire with COVID, right? California the same way. I guess you want to try to find some place. I thought I was going to try to find.
Yeah, they're doing home stadium.
They all going to do it home?
But
okay, so
with the in your division, it's just
okay. So they're going with that. They're staying right there. Okay,
yeah,
right.
That's what they're doing.
Okay, all right. So no, I was trying to figure out exactly how they was going to do. I know people were talking about just going to Florida. So they're going to stay. And we talked about that too on the show, I believe.
I know Toronto doesn't know if they're going to play in Toronto right now. But no, it's going to be interdivisional play, and you're going to play your division.
You play the East both ways, or you just play, you know, Central, West,
Central,
and mainly it's divisional.
But you still have the issue with 2/3 of the country being on a fire right now, and people are testing positive left and right. Ryan, we talked about it on the show. It was it 6 players of the Phillies or 10 players?
Well, it was like originally like 5 and 2 staffers or something, and then it got up to 12 total.
Right. So, I mean, I know they're trying to get this season to go. And listen, I mean, it came down to the last point where Commissioner Manfred just like, listen, we just got to play. Could they have let the season go and not have it? Yeah, but a lot of people do feel that if MLB didn't have this season, not a death nail to the league, because I don't think that would have happened, but they would have been severely hurt by not playing it, because then you had the labor strike on top of the coronavirus and its you know, saying it's how it's spreading again. I'm gonna see. Matter of fact, I can let y'all know this. I was communicating with my sales associate, if you want to say, with the Chicago White Sox about tickets. So Tony Gill, our boy, and he's a producer, podcast producer down at NBC Sports Chicago. We bought a 10-game package, right? So I reached out and I was like, hey, so hope you're doing well, but what's up with our tickets? In so many words. And I was like, and the representative got back to me and say, like, listen, we haven't figured out what's going to happen. It was news saying we're not going to have any fans, but we'll see. Hold on, wait a minute. So we'll see.
With your money, they said that.
What?
We don't know what we're gonna do with your money.
No. Wait. No. We're talking about the tickets. So I asked her.
That's
I said,
your money. The tickets are your money.
So I said, so if the season doesn't if fans can't come, are we going to get our money back, or is it going to roll over to next season? So the options that we have is A, we can get the refund on the tickets, or they're going to give us a credit plus 5% more going into the following season when you can't have fans can't come back. So I guess it's probably going to happen across the board, because there's 60 games across the board, and no fans are probably going to be able to be allowed to come and watch. So I guess all season ticket holders are going to be able to roll over to next year. So
but you gave them the option.
Selfishly,
you let them giving them the option.
No.
Are you going to do this instead of give me my money?
Well, my whole thing
Can
is
I have my money?
no. My whole thing is if I know my season tickets ought to be good for the following season, I'm good. I'm good.
What about COVID next season?
Well, we're gonna have to see what happens.
That's why you better off. You know the prices. They giving you that 5%, but you know the prices may be lower next year because of COVID.
Yeah. Maybe you can get even cheaper tickets.
You need to get your money back. All right.
I want to see
the Tony pressuring you.
No, not at all. We talked about it. But if the 5%, could the 5% give us more games if fans are able to go?
5% ain't enough, dude. How much I was paying?
We didn't pay like $1,000.
No, I'm just saying, but I mean, 5% doesn't get you enough. Like if you were saying 5% could get you like 4 to 5 more games, yeah.
I think it's to get a half.
That's what to say. Like,
what'd you say, Ryan?
You said a half.
A souvenir.
It's not going to get you enough to where I'm telling you those tickets next year are going to be reduced.
Here's a question to everybody, because we all thought that Chicago White Sox was going to have a really good season. Well, I think they still are going to have a good season. I said a good season. I think they're going to have a really good season this year. Okay, so does that roll over to next year too? The same hype, because the same hype with the team is going to be over the next year. Them tickets probably not going to drop.
I don't know.
No, dude, that's not how. Stop talking yourself into this.
Hey, man.
No. Wait. What? Look at the economy. It's going to be worse, right? You're right now. Those tickets, they're going to be trying to get people out for an extended amount of time. Get your money back because those tickets are going to be cheaper next year. You don't have to talk yourself into it.
I ain't trying to talk myself into it.
I'm just look at it.
No,
chances are that 5% isn't going to equate how much your package will be next season. Just chances are because of how messed up everything is.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's your
No. But it's the biggest
thing, sir.
No, this is the biggest thing too. We got to see exactly what the season's going to look like next year. Are they going to even have?
That's my point. But that's my point. Like you're talking about next year. They may have to do social distancing in the stadium, meaning less people. Meaning that's what I'm saying. As far as what you just said, we have to see. The chances are it's not going to be like we're back. Right? Do what you want. Do what you want to do. Chances are it's not gonna
be. And we talked about that on the show too, talking about they do the 20% because that was kind of rolled out too, 20% capacity within the stadium. I made the point of if you could be social distancing within the stadium, but you still got to come in with everybody. You still got to go to concession stands. Everything.
They're gonna switch to 100% next year. Next season.
Oh, absolutely not.
Even if there is, according to Dr. Fauci,
a
vaccine, that everyone's going to take it, and that a herd that we can sit there and get a herd immunity. That's what let's not say everybody, enough people, and we even know with anti-vaxxers now that enough people. Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah,
that enough people will take it that it's going to be able for them to open up all the seats and guarantee rate. I doubt it. So my point is, your stuff is going to be reduced. And they may even have to stagger it. So make sure you got your money so you can get those advantages moving forward. That's my only point. Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead.
Got a little breaking news. Clippers Lakers going to highlight the season opener for the NBA.
Okay. Ain't nobody playing. They all
what?
Gonna be. They all on load management. It's the first game.
Boy, why are we even talking about baseball?
I'm just saying, but look, they're all load managed. You know Kawhi's not playing. Right. Kawhi's not playing.
He's got no excuse not to play.
Oh, no. That's too much.
He had 4 months off.
Wait. What'd you say, Chuck?
Why not is Leonard playing?
You said why not?
Why not?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No offense. Ryan, I got to tell you something, my man. Clippers will never, ever be LA basketball. I will believe that on my knuckles when they come back. I promise you. It will still be the Lake Show. I just had to get that off my chest, but
I think the Clippers got a chance. But go ahead, you keep.
I think they can win.
If Kawhi's going to load manage during COVID, then yeah.
Well, no.
He got me fired up with Lakers Clippers, Ryan. I can't help that. I'm always gonna be Lakers right there. Loyalty.
There's 8 games this season. I'm sitting out 4 of them. Get ready for the playoffs.
That's my point, Ryan. He can load manage for this. There's no need to play.
My goodness!
Listen. Why would you rush a dude that's injury prone or?
But I thought this was build up so that he can get ready.
Kawhi plays in the playoffs. Let Kawhi. If you just said it, Let Kawhi play 4 of these 8 games. And look, PG, the same thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it's how deep the Clippers are. Listen, I'm with you, Chuck. They'll never own LA, but moving out of the Staples Center.
Well, they're going to be going to the West Forum. Don't forget temporarily.
Exactly. But they're going to build a state-of-the-art. Ballman's going to build a state-of-the-art first place in Inglewood. It's going to help them. That doesn't mean they'll own LA, but chances are, like, and this could be the year, I wouldn't put past them winning the title. All right. So, yeah, I wouldn't like that. They will probably, I would still lean to them, even with how the Lakers were playing prior to the COVID situation taking over with defeating the Clippers and defeating Milwaukee in the same week, and how they were just excelling. I still would think with the depth, because the Clippers haven't even played together. And now, to help the Clippers, nobody's been playing together. Mm-hmm. And they deep.
Man, they're not even going to play together these last 8 games.
But I will say this. As much as I'm bashing the Clippers right now, I will say this in fairness to them. 2 words.
Doc Rivers?
Jerry West. Oh. Jerry West is an ultimate architect, front office executive. He did it with the Lakers, even assisted with the Golden State Warriors with 1 or 2 titles. Remember, he also did some stuff with the Warriors. So he did with Magic Johnson, Kareem, Showtime Lakers, even Shaq and Kobe. God rest Kobe Bryant. So miss him. Still can't believe he's gone. But even with the Warriors, too. He even helped out Draymond Green, Steph Curry. He was also part of assistance helping the Warriors bring in a title. So Jerry West right there, I think gives you a little bit more reason why that swagger of that Clippers team is changing. He knows how to get it done more as an executive than as a player. But I think when you got like stability in that area, that's one big reason why they got a lot of hope. Jerry West.
They got a lot of hope because they got Kawhi Leonard.
Just couldn't let Doc rock.
Yeah, but Jerry West has to be the guy like, recruiting these guys. I'm just saying he knows how to
recruit
talent
let's bring this back. Because Jerry West is the greatest basketball executive of all time. But this is Steve Ballmer and really Doc Rivers. Because if they didn't have a great coach, PG, and not to say they wouldn't come for the money, but they're not going to the Lakers for a reason, right? So one, it is the owner that will outspend, because the Lakers are a mom and pop shop. So you got Microsoft money, right? So you got an owner that has way more money than the Lakers ownership. So that's one reason to come there. But then you have a coach that's done it, a black coach of that.
Doc Rivers.
And you can trust. I think they know who I was talking about. But you
just echoing to your point, Ken. That's all.
No, but you can. I know. I'm just busting your balls.
Oh, you're good, man. I'm used to it.
But it's just that, because this is the thing that we always talk about on the show. Really, with franchises, and I'm not taking away from Jerry West being there, but the only reason I say that, like, maybe Jerry West helped with like them drafting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last season. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he doesn't help in free agency. But most of the players they have were already there and decided to stay because of the momentum and being in LA. And then knowing that we're a good core and we could bring in 2 stars, we can sit here and really do something. So that's the only reason compared to, and even with like Golden State, he was big. He helped Barnes a lot with Golden State, but you see they let Barnes go. Which they should have to bring in KD rather. But still, I think it's money and a coach I trust, because major NBA players care about their legacy, and the last thing you want to leave your legacy in the hands of is a bad organization. That's why the Bulls don't have players willing to give them their legacy, and a bad coach. You want someone who can at least validate your career by titles or contention, and that's usually where you lead out after the money has already been paid.
Okay, so let me just ask you this real quick, just to wrap up with MLB. We'll get into the NBA in just a second right now. But aside from the Astros benefiting from COVID-19, the silence right now, with universal DH being in place, do you think like a team like the Cubs right now, who's got a veteran squad right now, do you think they could be a beneficiary of this year, especially for rookie manager David Ross right there? Yeah, they're going to have a shorter season, but which team across the league do you really see in the National League, more in particular, helping this out hugely? Maybe the defending champs, the Nationals.
Yeah, definitely the Nationals with Bryce Harper. The Cubs definitely with Kyle Schwarber. Any of those teams, I will say this with the MLB season only being 60 games, it is going to be like a sprint. And any team that you consider to kind of have a contention to get into it, man, you're going to see them just run off these wins. And having a DH in the National League is going to be huge. I like the fact that it's going to be there, and I hope it's permanently. I think it just leave it.
Yeah, buddy.
Just leave it permanently, because once that toothpaste is out the tube, you can't put it back in, and then you're going to see these pitchers going like, I don't have to bat, man. Going up there, let them. I mean, it's getting more specific. The whole entire world is, what is it? It's getting more automated. It's getting more specific to exactly what needs to be done. So it's going to help a ton of teams. If you have an actual out, not an automatic out. If you don't have an automatic out, that's going to be great.
Teams.
Because
these teams
what do you mean?
These teams didn't go into this offseason knowing there was going to be a DH.
So what?
So I agree.
Yeah,
wait, just listen for a second.
Okay, wait.
A pitch hitter and the guy that you have that you're looking at is in the National League. This is my pitch hitter. Like, for instance, the Cubs. It benefits you if you're just like, hey, Cal Schwarber, you don't need to be out there. You know, he's improved his metrics in the outfield. Mm-hmm. But you still know you can, like, a team that has a guy that is a DH, cool. But there's plenty of National League guys that they don't have a real DH on their team, and those guys have already been snatched up. So I'm not dissing the thought, but I'm saying when they've already have their teams already. They were in spring training. In spring training, the NL didn't have a DH. So not to say it doesn't help them, but it doesn't help them like an AL team, because the AL have already had real guys that had to take 200 swings. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm talking about the talent, D.
I know what you're saying.
So, but you made the D face.
Saying, I think I should have made the D face.
No,
I think so.
No, but that's not, no. In the National League, they don't have DHs at that position.
Yeah, somebody who's not used to going back, sitting down, and going to back.
No. I'm not even talking about guys who aren't used to DHing, which validates my point even further. I'm talking about guys that are great home run hitters and great average guys that are used to just sitting there, and I'm a DH, so they got DH talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could sit there and look at a team like the Anaheim Los Angeles Angels, and when you look at the fact that they have what's the name from Albert Pujols. Mm-hmm. Like, and again, listen. Now, if I was in the NL and I had an Albert Pujols, I was one of those teams that's like, yeah, Albert's playing first too much. Like, then I could sit him and be like, you're just DHing, cool. They don't have that guy because that's not what they did this season. But they didn't know. So let me finish. They didn't know they were going to universal DH this season. So my point is, it doesn't benefit them as much because when they filled out their roster, there wasn't available DHs to fill that position.
The National League wouldn't have signed off on this if they didn't think they can do it.
It's not, but no. That has nothing to do with my point.
Well,
my point isn't. Listen, when we talk about Bryce Harper, the National League was always going to sign off on DH coming. We've known that already. That's not the point that I'm making. My point is DH talent isn't in the National League because when they were making and building their rosters this year, they didn't know, so they built their rosters without legitimate DHs is my point. That's my only point.
But your DH doesn't necessarily have to be a bopper. You can have your DH
it doesn't have to be a bopper. It has to be a bopper. I'm just still talking about DH. Look, so listen. We're talking about guys who are utility players. Nobody signs a guy to be, like, for instance, you don't have a guy that's like, he our DH just because we play AL teams on our team. Nobody signs, they don't have that guy in the National League. You have a guy that you think is, all right, he's a bopper, we can move him off, he's a first baseman, he's an outfielder. Let's pull him, use a utility guy, maybe a guy that can hit for average or something like that. My only point in saying this is National League teams, and of course they were going to go along with it because they want to get it done so that they can bring those players into the National League, but they weren't prepared this year to go after that talent because they didn't have the DH. Okay. I don't see what's difficult in making that point.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
Well, my only thing is, come on. Any professional hitter is better than Jose Quintana going up there 3
But
times.
that's not the point that I'm making, Ryan.
I know, but
I'm
I'm
making
just saying National League teams are going to benefit, maybe not as much as American League
but
teams.
That's my point.
But our point is just that teams are going to benefit.
But no, they're still at a disadvantage because of the talent market that was taking place this offseason with knowing how the league was going to move forward.
And one other
that's
thing
the
to
only
that,
point
Cam,
that I'm making. That's the only point.
One other thing to that, the player pool is going to be 60 guys. You got guys in your minor league system that maybe they can develop through this DH, and sometimes those guys are better than a veteran player.
Do you want to do that with a young guy who
if they're going to be a DH already?
But wait. They weren't expecting this year. Now, maybe when the new CBA came up, they were expecting that. Do you want to start training a player this year to be a DH and not to be a full player who brings you more value? Like I'm just even saying but this is the point I'm just making. So this is what you're saying. So just look at my point, Ryan, when you're saying.
Come on, defense, pretty much.
So general managers, we're looking at that player that you're talking about transitioning to doing that in 2 seasons, right? So to your point, maybe it'll be better just to bring this kid up because he can hit. But the point that I'm making, they were initially looking at trying to get more value out of this player with being a more well-rounded player. So to a certain degree, I don't necessarily agree that it's beneficial just to that player when the team was going to put more into that player being a more rounded player. That's the only point that I'm just still saying.
My counter to what you just said would be, I think of like the Cubs with Schwarber when he was a kid, or that Dan Vogelbach before they traded him.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone kind of knew they were DHs. And then you've got also other guys throughout your minor league system. They might be so far and away ahead with the bat than the glove that's where their comfort is.
Let me counter that. But who would have thought Schwarber, when it came to negating runs and the strength of his arm, would have been that player in the outfield if he wasn't forced to. But that's the point that I'm trying to make. But you don't think
he could still be that guy?
No, because you wouldn't have. No, because you wouldn't have used him.
He wouldn't have had in the World Series.
No. They would have had the DH. That's not funny. No. This is when you're saying that. This is what I'm listening. They wouldn't have, if going on what you're saying, he would have never had to develop and use those skills because he could just DH. So now,
they know they're going to play interleague games.
Wait a minute.
No. Schwarber being an outfielder last season is different. That's not just interleague games. All right? That's the point that I'm trying to make. When Schwarber stopped guys with his arm out there, he would have never developed that whatsoever because he wouldn't have had to develop it because he would have been a DH.
Ken, you're making the argument for something that a GM is going to be on a lookout for 2-3 seasons.
No, I'm going to make an argument for what they were doing with them now, and this was thrust upon them is my argument. This was thrust upon them.
I don't care if it was thrust upon them.
But you can't say you don't care.
Wait a minute, listen.
That doesn't go along with the argument.
You seem to be like you're arguing with yourself.
No, I'm not. The point,
what Ryan and I are saying.
Ryan doesn't agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I do agree.
You don't agree.
You're bullshit. You're on an island.
I think the DH is a huge benefit for the National League.
Any pitcher. Let me finish my point. Any batter, any professional hitter is better than having a pitcher.
That's not my point.
I know that's not your point. I don't know why you even want to go down this lane because nobody was even saying this. What are you talking about?
That was not what
you're talking about. Something like he's not looking at him 4 years from now.
Nuance. No. And this is the problem. Like, if we had a lower third to say what this argument was initially about, that's not what the argument was initially about.
Let's ask some moderator.
Let me finish.
Let's ask some moderator.
The argument was who does it benefit, right? And my point was it benefits the AL because prior to COVID, the National League did not know that they were going to implement this season.
And
if you're saying
that was
who's going to benefit more,
I'm going to tell you why.
No.
That's not true because in the National League park, you would have AL teams taking away the DH, and you would still have pitchers, and you would still be able to the manager to be able to use his tricks. So it does not benefit National League teams to play AL style when they could not acquire AL talent because they didn't know they were switching to this. His argument was, who does it benefit? And I'm asking, no, it doesn't. Because if you're telling me that I don't have a DH on my team, a legit DH, but I still could sit there and maneuver in a way in the National League team and take away you having a DH in my park, it benefits me in my park to take away your DH. Yes, it does.
I want a professional hitter.
No. You're talking about what? Wait, D. You're talking about what you prefer.
Ken, you're arguing for nothing, dude.
No, because because this is the thing when we do this. You're talking about, and I'm with you on my preference as far as who's a better hitter. Ryan, that's not my argument. I'm talking about the tactical advantage of a National League team. Let me finish. Of a National League team this season. Next year, when National League team can sign DHs and they know we got DHs, we don't have to worry about that. The prop was in National League parks, I'm taking away what you have, and you have to adapt. You're taking that away in National League parks, and National League teams didn't have the advantage of signing those type of players. That's my only point.
Well, I'm just saying, bringing it back to the question, who does it benefit? I believe National League teams benefit big time from the DH. That's just my
season. This season they benefit big time.
Oh, sure.
So they benefit when they couldn't sign those type of players, and they had the advantage of playing that style of ball.
I mean,
and now they have to play AL ball now, and they don't have legit DHs because they already signed the players.
But
would you rather have a professional hitter up to the bat or Steven Strasburg?
I would rather have. Listen, this is the thing, D.
How about a bullpen guy?
I'd rather be able. Listen, this is the thing. In the AL, you don't have the strategy that we play with. So in my park, because I don't have a player that can benefit me in the same way that you have that player, when you come to my division, I want to take advantage of your weakness.
That's my Wrigley, you got to hit the ball. You got to hit it hard. There's no National League thing.
I don't know. You just spun yourself. You just spun yourself all into all of this for nothing.
I didn't
for nothing.
Myself into
yes, you did. You spun yourself all up into this. And the only thing we're saying is, who would you rather have at the bat? Jose Casano or a professional hitter?
That wasn't the question. It was who it benefits the most.
The National League, because they don't have to have a
who
pitcher.
It benefits or who it benefits the most?
It was who it benefits. It was who it benefits the most.
Because mine is the National League is benefiting from this, and
no.
I mean,
you said benefiting,
but I don't know how the AL benefits most.
No,
they already had the DH.
The point is now you're playing AL baseball in National League parks. You used to have to play National League parks and take away a huge asset of yours as far as the DH in National League parks. National League teams did not have the time and know this season they needed DHs in their system. So it benefits the AL because now we're playing our ball. We don't even have to worry about what you used to do. We're going to do what we used to do, and you have to adapt, and you didn't even have the time to get the type of talent that we already have in our division. That's all I'm saying. If that's that complicated, I don't think
it's that complicated. You just made
it seemed real complicated.
You made it very complicated, bro.
I disagree. That's all.
That's all it is.
It wasn't a disagree, but it was the fact that it was like.
Hey, Chuck, you see how he spins himself all the way into this? And the only thing we're trying to say is, the pitcher don't have to hit. That's pretty good for a National League.
That's not the That wasn't the argument.
Oh Lord. Okay, Chuck, what else you got?
You guys are all good, man. That's what I love about you guys. You guys ain't afraid to be yourselves. I'm just like sitting back here, just let you guys rip. But I will say this, back to the point from what I brought up. I would say the LA Dodgers. I would say the Dodgers be another team you can throw in the mix like a benefit from having the DH. Think about the last two times how they came up short in back-to-back years. They lost in 7 games in 2017 to the Astros in Game 7. Really, with you, Darvish, right there. Astros out-hit them in that game right there. Then a year later, they hardly had any offense against the Red Sox. 5 games. So I'm looking at a team like a Dodgers
Red Sox are cheating, Chuck.
Right now that could probably still get back in there. Blake Kershaw, he chokes a lot, but the problem is your bats went cold in the fall. So I'll look at the Dodgers that could probably get some of a favor in that, along with teams like the Cubs. But I'll say the Dodgers. How about you guys?
All right. Well, I said my 2. I was saying the Dodgers and the Nationals.
Ryan?
As in, who do you think is going to come out of the NL?
No. So with the universal DH right now,
Yeah.
Which team?
Oh, who it benefits the most?
Yes.
Yeah, I like. Well, okay, Phillies I think benefit the most because they got Bryce Harper, and you can put Bryce in the DH
that's what I
spot.
meant. Phillies. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Dodgers, you pick up Mookie Betts, so if you can put another hitter in over the pitcher, that's going to be big time for them. They've got a lot of home run bashers and a deep farm system, so they can
They
bring
also got
up
to think their
somebody.
window's getting smaller for a World Series too.
Well, Mookie's only 1 year, so you got to make do with what you can with Mookie this year, and then I think the Cubs benefit for sure.
Yeah.
I think they have been struggling with offense, and I just think all these teams they're struggling with offense. Getting that extra guy in there, it's going to be big time.
Ken?
Drinking.
No comment, Taylor.
Drinking.
I'm just tired of these MFers.
You just spun yourself all into a tizzy. Yeah, you did.
No, how did I
spun yourself into a tizzy?
No, not at all. I'm explaining myself. Why is that? Like, that's unfair.
Oh, my God.
That's unfair. Like,
what?
If I'm
What's unfair? What's unfair, Ken?
There's nothing unfair.
No. If I explain myself, how is it that I'm into it? I wasn't into a tizzy. Like I like the fact that we disagree because it's good to explain our opposition. Yeah. But don't say that I spun myself into a tizzy.
Oh,
yeah, the tizzy part could be unfair.
That's what I'm saying, right? My part was the tizzy part, right? But anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, tizzy. I'm sorry. I used the wrong word.
Yes, you did, sir.
Yes, say tizzy.
When did they invent fighting through the phone and Zoom? That we could just reach through that screen.
Right.
You said tizzy.
So which team you got, Ken?
Which team you got?
I mean,
no.
This, to be honest with you, I think it's unfair to say we know who. With 60 games, this is like
they got to redo a spring training.
Dude, this is the best hot streak ever.
Yeah.
Like you go on the streak now,
especially early, just out of the gates.
It's a thing. All right. The only thing that could stop you probably if you went up against like a deep ass pitching staff.
Yeah.
Where's it at? Mm-hmm. Right? Look what happened with the Yankees, right? So, they brought in Garrett Cole. They lost their ace, right?
How many arms are we going to lose this year just blowing out?
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why I told you on the Dean Davis show, I don't want our aces to participate in this. It's like, just relax. Don't worry about this.
Even if they start 15-0?
Yeah, because there's not enough days off one. Right.
Yeah, 70 days, I think.
60 games in 70 days.
70 days.
Not enough days off. And I mean, just think, listen, this is the crazy part. So the pitchers aren't even going to be clicking to like game 40. Right? Like,
well, definitely getting stretched out where they're going deep innings. Yeah.
They're not even clicking to game 40. Right? And then after those 30 games, it's in playoff baseball.
This is probably going to be the most intense spring training of their lives.
This whole entire season is going to be intense.
So, again, going to your point, of course, the teams, I think the Cubs have, but it depends on David Ross.
Yeah,
now, David Ross is everything that we've heard. But it's the crazy part. David Ross may not be everything that we've heard of.
No.
But this short season can be so advantageous to him with clicking them in because he doesn't have to worry about 162.
Yeah,
it's like, dog, I got 60 games for y'all. Let's go. Yeah. Right? And go ahead, Ryan.
Let's not forget with Rossi, we thought he was going to learn on the job and have 162 to kind of man, he can make a few big mistakes early.
But he already got studs though. These dudes are trained.
I agree with you. I think that they could go on a freaky run.
I mean, but it's a thing. Like I can say, so those seasoned teams, they have an advantage. I can look at the Dodgers. I can look at the Yankees. You know what I'm saying? These teams.
Red Sox.
Well, not the Red Sox. I don't think the Red Sox are going to be.
How about the Astros?
I think the Astros definitely have a good chance, and they got the biggest monkey on their back to get them to prove it. Like, and this is like their best advantage. It's a shortened season. It's like, man, we're not cheating this year. Let's go prove this real quick, right? But they don't have Garrett Cole. You know what I'm saying? But still, and it's the greatest. But see, the point is, you don't even need a pitching staff like that because it's so condensed.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, man, if you got 2 dope aces, man, who knows what this season
As long as they go and stay healthy.
My real thing, Chuck, is I don't know, because this type of season is so fluky. It can be the smallest market or the deepest team, because it can either be you're hot or you're hot, and then towards the end of the year you start to slow down and you run into that juggernaut. But I'd be lying if I prognosticated on who would win this MLB season, because it's such a different type of season than any of us have experienced ever in our lives.
The simple fact that we don't know what's going to happen is what's got me so excited.
Well, no, but I mean, at the same
Chuck,
time,
how do you feel
make a similar
about
argument too? Like with baseball, I could compare once upon a time to the NHL about a little over 7 years ago. Remember, they started their season halfway in until January right there. You had a half season, eliminated the All-Star break right there. I mean, just anytime you're playing a shortened season like this, it's going to be a lot more intensity to be turned up a notch. You know, make sure you got players being healthy right there. How's David Ross going to be able to take advantage of that right there? I mean, just to go for those situations. It's one thing to take off the catcher's mask and chest guard and step into like the big boy shoes of an actual coach on that team right there. I don't care how relatable they are to him. I just wanted to see how does he handle skipper game situations with his team. I think that's what boils down to, especially health right here.